day I could be an author. And so the topic came to me with ease: women. I love inspiring stories about women. I can sit and do this while you talk. It's like happy birthday to me. It's like you've given me jollof just to hear stories. That's where I get my fuel from. So I started writing about women, just thinking, I'm going to blog about women and then my page will grow and I'll get 1,000 likes. I was looking for 1,000 likes. Like, you don't laugh. It was a big deal to me. Get 100. The night before when I got 999, can't you see me? I was sitting behind the computer waiting so I can take a screenshot because my dreams have come true. Today I have 1,000 likes. Little did I know that, oh ye Amadankan of tiny faith, God had something bigger. And that page was just the beginning of something I can't even find the words to describe. So anyway, long story short, the page was growing. People were getting to know about the stories. I was interviewing women, sharing their stories. My brother just said, organize an event. People come. I was like, are you sure? I said, do it. People come. Hey, people came. The second event, Amazing Zoe sang beautifully, exhibited as well. After that event, Zoe, this was 6th February 2016, I was still in corporate. And I had been doing the Fabulous Woman Network. At the time, it wasn't a network, it was just the Fabulous Woman. I had been doing it for almost a year. And I remember I felt the energy. Sharing the stories was everything to me, like it was life. It made me different. I felt happy. And then one time, one of my colleagues asked, Amma, now what Fabulous Woman, does it pay you money? It didn't. But you know what? It was more than money to me. And I was still in corporate, and I knew my heart wasn't in the job. But what else was I going to do? Like, how will I eat? I had 2 children. I had to support my husband. So my husband was coming to Accra. We live in Osekrum, like I said. And I followed him. He was coming for his meeting. I followed him. While he was away that Saturday, I spent the entire day praying, thinking, journaling. I love to journal. Praying, thinking, and then I ate jollof. When my husband returned, I told him, I'm going to quit my job. And the angel that he is, I've never told him he's an angel. When you meet him, say, I'm a Duncan, say, an angel. Anyway, he said, sure. But if I tell you, I knew what exactly I was going to do, because at the time, it wasn't monetized. Yes, I did training, but I didn't even believe anyone would pay me any good money to do anything. I wasn't sure. And it wasn't a logical decision. There was nothing, like, but I felt strongly within my bones that I needed to leave. So I did quit. A few days before my last day of work, a friend who I actually just went to meet downstairs sent me a hymnal, God will take care of you. God will take care of you. I don't know if you've heard it. I listened to this. I started tearing up. And that was the thing that I held on to at that time. And I was able to quit. But you see, I'm smiling here, but deep down, I felt I wasn't good enough to lead women. Like, who am I? What do I have to tell another? Who is this girl to? Commander girl. I was never. They are Accra girls and you are Kumasi girl. Not that I'm from Kumasi, but you know what I mean. Then I felt I was not enough. I questioned myself. I questioned God. I battled with God. God, who am I to lead women? Even though I would be smiling and all, deep down, I was struggling because I didn't feel enough. And do you know what made it even more difficult? When I felt I was failing in the role as leader of an organization. There were so many mistakes in our stories. I remember one time someone said, Ma, I read this person's story that you shared. It was a great story, but mistakes won't, Papa. Oh, no. And the way she said it, it made me feel like I was the mistake. Like I felt like I was a walking mistake. And every time someone spotted something we didn't do well, it was on me. And I embodied it and I felt lower. Low. I just kept, when you compared other people's stories and then you saw mine, I was like, ew, go away. I said, that's how I felt. My sister. I remember events like these. We would organize and, I would picture how the event would go so beautifully in my head. In my head, it's perfect. And then you talk to the one or two team members, oh, everything will go perfect. On the day, I'll be on stage and things are passing and I'm dying. Something like that thing, I said, what's serious about William? Oh, my sister, I'm giving you a virtual hug. Hey, now me say, hey God, so I can't even get this right. Like I felt like I was just failing. And every time I failed, it was like I was letting God down. I was letting people down, like you are not good enough. That's how I felt. That I'm not good enough. Especially when you compare it to others who are doing it so well. Now, why can't you do it like them? We need be now. That was me. This is my last book. The first book I wrote is called Yarns of Inspiration I sent it to a very good friend who loves to read. Like she reads one book a day, and when I say one book, like this kind of book, and she's a medical doctor, so I was like, oh, read and give me your views. And I know she reads fast, so I knew that within 1 hour she could finish. That book was 73 pages. 2 days, 3 days, I hadn't heard from her, so I called her. I was like, book and what's up? Oh, that book, it was so boring I slept. Yeah. Not that she was being mean. She was telling me her frank, and I appreciated that, she needed to tell me the truth. So these were some of the embarrassing situations I had to deal with at the time. And the feelings at the time, the feelings, I hope you can see fear. Fear. Your heart is going boom, 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 boom. Some of the things that we did, I was so afraid, but I'll be smiling. You know how women we do it? Self-doubt. Self-doubt used to occupy me and overtake me. I don't know whether he pushed the Holy Spirit away from me and then it will occupy. Then the Holy Spirit come back. Hey, that's my girl. Worry. I used to worry for Ghana. Like world champion, but thank God he's relieved me. Confusion. It's me a basa. Embarrassment. Hey, if there were an award for embarrassment, I should get it. My ferio doing this work. I've embarrassed myself so many times that to see how AI normal. Embarrassment. Loneliness. My loneliness is missing E. Even the loneliness is lonely. I have felt it in the arena because you've put yourself out there to do something. If you are here and these are some of the emotions you are going through, I'm sending you a virtual hug. Look at this woman. Have you ever asked yourself that? Na me cry why na so mame. What do you want to say? Obi ansum suma wo. Talkative man obi ansum woman obi ansuma one na wo se obeye. Sometimes you have to want to do something. Na nipa wo ya man no cry criticize you. And still you are not giving up. I said Bibi has possessed you. I would ask myself that. But on the flip side, in the arena, there's ecstasy that I cannot quantify. It's priceless. The feeling, I remember this interview I had with this woman in Chicago. I was walking out of her office like I was high. I haven't done cocaine before, but maybe like I was high. I couldn't tell you why. Sometimes I would interview women or I would do something and I'm like the happiest woman on earth. Sometimes I'm in awe. Like today, some things that God has just done. And I'm like, hey, who are you? You know, sometimes the sense of fulfillment, I can't show it to you. I can't. The happiness, the feeling of worthiness, the joy, also in the same arena. So it's not only bad, sometimes it's beyond amazing. But do you know why all these things happen? Because you are the woman in the arena. Because you are that woman. If you weren't, you would just be sitting in your one corner all day, all night. Now, what's it? Nobody will criticize you. You don't have to face any fear. But because God has put something on your heart and something is pulling you towards that thing, you get up and go. In spite of all these embarrassment, headache, frustration, my God, you still keep going. You still keep going. Because whatever you are doing is bigger than you. So this poem that the man in the arena, really, we know it was written by, well, whether he wrote it or not, doesn't matter. He said it somewhere. But there's a portion that I took and I want us to read it together. Okay? Ready? Go. The credit belongs to the woman who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who at best knows the triumph of high achievements, and who at the worst, if she fails, at least fails while daring greatly. Thank you. We are newscasters. So really, the people outside, they could be saying their things, and we say. In your arena, the credit belongs to you because you are actually putting yourself out there. In spite of the fear, the shame, the mistakes, the things that sometimes what dream say, because you have put yourself in whichever arena, and everyone's arena is different. God gives everyone, before you come, God calls you, okay, Augustina, do you get it? God gives everyone a specific assignment, and yours is to come and do it and trust that He's with you. So I want to share a few things. I believe I have 15 minutes more. The thing is not thinning. Or if you can control it from your end for me, please, just to the next slide. I want to share a few things to help us keep daring greatly as the woman in the arena. Because you know what? You are already in the arena. Maybe you are taking actions already, maybe you are not, but it doesn't matter. You are in the arena, and it's up to you. Whatever you need to keep performing, to keep doing what you have to do, God has given it already. Please, can you go to the next slide for me? Or even the next two. So the first thing I want to share with you, hopefully it will come. In the arena, as the woman in the arena, be a learner. One of the most liberating thoughts I've ever had is the fact that I am a learner. So when I'm making mistakes, I am no more punishing myself that, how could I be so, I'm a power go anymore, you know? Instead of feeling like that, I'm like, I'm a learner. What do learners do? Imagine a child who is trying to learn how to walk. They get up small, they take one step, they go like this, they fall, they try again. The child won't say, walking is hard. I don't want to walk again. I won't do again. But Gen Z in Korano, they may decide not to walk again. Be a learner at heart. If you know that what you're doing, you are learning, and you are not seeing yourself as a pro, but a learner, The mindset is different. Every time we do events, I would ask people for feedback, and some of the feedback used to cut my heart like a sword because Pakobi, obviously, I had such high expectations for this event, Iradi. I mean, and they couldn't even cover half of the event. My sister, not because they were being mean, they were actually telling me their truth, and sometimes the truth hurts. But when I see the feedback as something good that will help me, the mindset is different. If I see it as, oh, I am a learner, the perception is different. So there are two questions that I always ask myself after events. What did we do right? What can we improve on next time? So I won't ask you what I did wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. It's just that there's more room for improvement. If you're a learner, you have the mindset of improvement. Do you get it? And this, for me, has helped me thinking of myself as a learner. And I love this quote by Robert Kiyosaki. Don't waste a good mistake. You know, mistakes are part of the journey. Did you see Simone Biles? Her compilation of falls, they were epic, epic falls. And yet she's being healed. She's retired honorably. Moving on to the next thing. Next slide. Let me see. Okay, still not. Okay. Give yourself grace, especially we women who want to conquer all of the world and go to Pluto and Jupiter and conquer that one too. My people, let's give ourselves grace. It's one of the things I'm learning for myself. Give yourself grace. Listen, I like this quote by T. Harv Eker, one of my favorite authors. Every master was once a disaster. Just remember the two videos. Remember Simone Biles falling and falling. And there was one thing I enjoyed about that. Every time she fell, she would get up and she would pose. Get up and pose and then keep going. Simone Biles was a disaster before. But look at her. Now we are healing her. I don't know what she's going to move on to next, but if she's going to start as a learner, we'll see her fails again. But if she has the will of a woman in the arena, she'll go and excel there too. So just remember this. And then know that all the people we admire, Lady Ajo, see her, beautiful, white dress, high heels, all of them, they once were what? They were once what? Disaster, and sister, it's not just you, all of us. It is part of the journey. If you can see yourself as, oh, it's not just me alone. I remember I was in Legon. I did economics. And the first time ever, I got an F. Hey, all my life, I had never had an F, but that subject was, it was a subject. But I remember what made it encouraging was I was not alone. There's something about when you are not alone, you are in the ditch, but you are not alone. So remember that you are disaster. The next slide. Okay, let me see. Yes. Be an ally to other arena babes. The other babes here, the other babes in the communities that you're working with. Be an ally. Find yourself in a community of arena babes who are supporting you, who are helping you. I have a mastermind that I don't joke with. We used to meet every 2 weeks. Life is happening, so now we meet, like, I think this entire year we've met 3 times. Everybody is in different places, US, wherever, but we meet online, and then we check up on each other. We ask, okay, so what are your goals for the next 3 months? What is happening? How is this retreat going? You know, following up and helping each other. Praying with each other, advising, rebuking, and connecting each other to jobs or contracts, sharing for each other. If you are sitting here and you are saying you don't have, then I have to look at you in a different color. Because look around you. It is through events like these that we connect with other arena babes. You are in this community, what's the name? Let Me Be a Woman. Where else are you going to find the arena babes if not in this community? When you are in there, you are not there to take every day. Give me, give me. Serve. And as you are serving, your own blessings will also come to you. People will happily support you. Do you get it? Find yourself in a community of arena babes and then support each other, champion each other, help each other to keep going. And then the next one, next slide. Keep your eye on the prize. Really, what is the price? All this who going up and down. What are we looking for? It is so that, please show the picture, so that at the end of the day, when we get to heaven, God will tell you, well done, my good and faithful servant. Everything we are doing, that's the nekra ne say, yekodua. God will just say, well done. The slide is not sliding. That is it. That is it. This is all we want to. All this, look, it doesn't matter how handsome your husband is, how much money you had, how many lives you impacted. At the end of the day, you just want God to say to you, through whatever you did on earth, whatever He sent you to do, you just want Him to say, well done, good and faithful servant. So please keep your eye on that prize, because you won't do it. Today, before coming here, Mandela Washington Fellows were celebrating 10 years. And, you know, most of us are social entrepreneurs, so we're talking about work. And one of them said, and you give your heart to the people, you do your best. Sometimes you use your own money, and even what they will say to you. Now, say, my sister, let's work as if unto God. But so what was the saying, not only, you even kill her, go and find her in the grave and kill her again, and slap her and beat her. Do you get it? Please, let's not do it for people. Whatever we are doing, even for our children, our husbands, our in-laws, our family, don't do it for them. Do it for God. Otherwise, you won't do it. Otherwise, you won't do it. Don't do it for Amadankan and think, oh, she will appreciate me. I may not even see. I may see it and say, but that's not enough. Is that all you could do? Do you get it? Do it for God. Keep your eye on the prize. And the final thing I want us to remember is to remember your anchor. What are you holding on to? What is keeping you firm? What is your faith in? What are you so sure of that even if ninyina kokra away dear waha, what is that for you? Let that keep holding. Hold on to it. Because this thing that's whatever your ministry is, whatever work you're doing, and sometimes it's not going well, it cannot be a funny joke like that too. So please, you need an anchor. And who is your anchor? Do you know you have a big God? Are you sure? Okay, get up. All of us, put your phones down. Put your phones down, release yourself, and let's show each other that we have a very big God. Please let the sound come. So, sound is not coming, because we have to dance. Do you know that dance? I saw these kids dance and I was tearing up. We are going to dance like them, but no pressure, just dance. Okay. Sound, please. Who knows the dance? I have a very big God. Oh, my people. Sound was sound, you know. Yes. Oh, sound be sound. Came before. This is technology. When you need it to technology, that is when you decide not to technology. Okay, while we wait for the sound, please, you can take your notes and then write down something you are taking away from this conversation quickly while we wait for the sound, because I'm also rounding up. Sorry? Oh, never. Is it coming? Jennifer Ambassador, is there, can you play it from YouTube or something? It doesn't want to come. Maybe today shouldn't dance. But you write your takeaway. I'll just go on to the next slide. Yeah. Write down one thing you're taking away from this conversation. It's coming. It's coming. But but can you connect it to? Okay. Then after we'll do it. Yes, let's finish this. Let's finish it. After we'll dance. So one takeaway. I want two people to share with me one thing you've taken away from this. Oh, beautiful smile. You want to speak, but something is like, don't speak. You in pink. Yes. In fact, come. Who else wants to speak? Share one thing you are taking away. So, oh, come. I saw you first, so. Or maybe you come. Three. Quick, quick, quick. Yeah, come. Yes. Your name?
Matilda. Okay, so before I came here, I was at Sunday school and we were in sections and I had to speak to the children. It's something I really want to do. I'm going to do my master's in communication, but I'm afraid of talking to people. So when I came, I just ran away. I didn't even register. I came here and they allowed me to enter. So one thing, please thank you very much for the opportunity. One thing I'm taking away is I have to let go of fear and follow my dreams because I know I'm going to make it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Oh, where's the other lady? You two come. Yes.
Okay. So one thing I learned was that behind the successes, behind every glamour we see out there, there are a lot of failures that we don't really see. And so that we shouldn't feel that maybe we are a mess or we are the odd ones out. Every great person we see out there also has their story of losses.
Your name?
Nora.
Nora. Thank you. Yes. Come. I thought I saw another hand. Did you want to? You? Yes. Please come quickly, quickly.
Okay, so I'm Rolanda, and after what happened earlier, I just learned. So I was supposed to tell what I'd learned, but then I became teary, though I cried throughout. So, but right now, I think that what I've taken and I'm going to do, or okay, so this is what I have learned actually in program. I am not a disaster or a disappointment. I am a learner, and I'll take it one step at a time.
Yes, please. There was another hand. Yes, please come.
Thank you. I'm Margaret. I learned that I have to get into the arena in the first place.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that for me, I'm an overthinker. I have all the hypotheses as to why it won't work. So I won't even do it in the first place. And I think that I've burdened myself with that. And I don't even step out to do anything in the end. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Margaret. And then our last lady, what's your name?
Jules. So yes. So the one thing I learned is that every master was once a disaster. So whatever happens, I have to get up, pose, and move on.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing. And I hope all of you something to you along the line. So thank you for giving me the opportunity. Let me just briefly talk about two of my books. I don't have the first one here. Yarns of Inspiration II has 33 short stories of some of the experiences I had. My time says that, please just give me 3 minutes. Some of the experiences I've had as an entrepreneur in life, as a mom and all, and the lessons from them. And this I wrote for networking. It's a cutie book called Networking Made Easy. Oh, thank you. You see, I realize there's students and startups. It doesn't matter the grades you have or the product you have. If people don't know you and are not mentioning you in rooms that you are not there, you need to know the right people. They need to know you. And that's why I wrote this book. So this is going for 150 cedis, $15, and this is going for 20 cedis. But for this package for today, both we have 150. This is 150. And it's available outside. So those who are interested, I brought 10 copies, I believe. Okay. And if you are interested in reaching out to me, this is my beautiful younger self. LinkedIn is the best place to connect with me because that is where I'll see faster. And then Instagram, of course, I go there small, small. And my website is almaduncan.com. And our corporate WhatsApp is +244 If you want to talk to me, you can reach out to one of my team members who will help you with whatever you need, or if you need to talk to me too, they will help you. So this is it. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Now, can we do the dance? And Zoe, we need to do this together. So let's be on our feet. Please, who can dance? Who knows the dance? The sound is not sounding well. The sound is not coming from the back. Sure, the microphone is just stable. Let me know when after the
I also wanted to dance. That's not fair. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Today has been powerful. I'm sure now we are all in the arena. Yes, we are all in there and we are ready to play. Right. So we are playing to win this time. We are not allowing doubt, fear, curiosity, because we've learned that at the other side of fear, there's what? Your breakthrough. Okay, so we are going to have a 1 minute video show. Then after we go to our final panel discussion, that will be on reproductive health. But before reproductive health, I'm going to do a presentation on my social enterprise. It's Talk to Your Midwife Global. And yes, look, don't let me say everything. But after the minutes video, I do the presentation, a very short one. Then we have a final panel discussion on reproductive health. Please, can we have the video? Is it ready? Okay.
in that place, I realized that most of these women opted home delivery. We don't have a problem with home delivery, but the safety of it, who is helping her uh, come out with a baby or deliver, and what are the things that they are using during the process. So at that time, I felt very burdened to help, but I didn't know how I was going to do that because I was still in school. Deep down in my heart, I knew that I didn't want to be on the ward, but I didn't know what options were available for me as a Ghanaian midwife. Because it felt like after school, you only have to be on the ward and that's it. Fast forward in 2020, I had a radio opportunity to host a program. When I came to uh, the city, that's called Koforidia. When I went to Koforidia, I realized that they have the facilities, but they lack information. The women came to the hospital pregnant, but they were anxious. We had adolescent girls coming to the hospital with complicated abortion, unsafe abortion. And I feel like if they had the right information, they would have known what to do. They have access. Their fears will be elevated, right? But they didn't have all these things available to them. So when I had the radio opportunity, I leveraged on it and I said, I want to give young girls, adolescent girls, pregnant women, information on sexual and reproductive health to empower them to take charge of their reproductive health. So in 2020, that was. Fast forward, I realized that even these women that I saw back in Yefri, we still had some of them in these supposed towns that did not have money to purchase some of these the maternity kits that they needed when they come to the hospital. Some of them will come to the hospital with nothing and they're expecting that you help them with something. Obviously, you cannot see them deliver with nothing. So I sat and I realized that there is something I can do for them. That's how Talk to Your Midwife came about. So I post visual content on social media where I educate young girls on sexual and reproductive health. The questions I was receiving in my DMs, some of them I felt like this is something you should know, but it felt like they didn't know they were clueless about it, particularly because of the cultural limitations and religion. Most of these sexual and reproductive health topics that we can talk about, like contraceptive, family planning, there is a lot of cultural limitation, there's a lot of stigma around it. So girls do not feel safe to even talk about some of these things. So I said that, you know what, I can create a safe space where young girls can feel free to discuss their reproductive health needs and also to relieve them of the stress and speak to a midwife at their convenience. So I built a mobile app, which is called TTY and Talk to Your Midwife. On the mobile app, when users download and they onboard, they are able to track their menses, they are able to track their fertility, they're able to track their pregnancy journey. So wherever you are in your reproductive health journey, we are there to support you. And if you need to book with a midwife for a consultation, you can book with a midwife and speak to her about anything and everything. And as part of our social enterprise, we have the emergency maternity kit where we sew the baby dresses, baby kit, the crib ourselves, and point of care service. So these communities that do not have access to healthcare, we go to these communities with our mobile van where we give them mobile A and C. We realized that most of the, what's the name? Maternal mortality cases, most of the maternal mortality cases that we are recording, most of these are from the prenatal stage. That is when the woman is pregnant. So if we are able to identify these high-risk pregnancies as much as possible, we will be able to reduce maternal mortality as much as possible. Because In fact, Eastern region alone is recording high cases of maternal mortality, and we are all trying to fight maternal mortality. So in our own innovative way, this is how we are trying to solve maternal mortality cases and also to empower women and girls to take charge of their reproductive health. We can be empowered with do this, do that, go to work. But if you do not understand your reproductive health, it's at the core of the well-being of a woman. If you wake up and let's say a perfect example, those that are married, we know society would want you to immediately take seed after you are married. Then for a long time you are trying to conceive, but it's not happening. That alone can distract a lot of things about you. So I say that women are the driving force of every economy. Therefore, they need to be well in order to do well. We contribute so much to the economy. If my reproductive health is not good, how do I be productive at work? If I do not understand my fertility, my menstrual cycle, if I'm not at peace with myself, I have PCOS, my emotions are all around, and I don't understand what to do. How can I be productive at work? If I'm not productive, it means the economy is losing. So you see how we contribute so greatly to the economy. So today, I'm just here to introduce to you TTYM as young women here. So this is our website. Talk to your midwife. So you can just go on and on LinkedIn, I have a newsletter where I share information on reproductive health. So anytime you can go on LinkedIn, talk to your midwife or Sarah Nkansa Boateng, and just have information for yourself on your reproductive health. Thank you so much for listening. So with that being said, we are going to have a deeper conversation on that, about reproductive health. And we have amazing panelists to do justice to the topic. Trust me, you are going to enjoy every bit of this conversation. So we are going to talk about, we are going to talk about wellness, family, and community in pursuing bold action. The panelists are going to share insights and perspective on the importance of early reproductive health care and building family and community relationship in pursuit of bold action. Our moderator is our own founder, Zoe Louise. Yes, a round of applause. The panelists are Eno Quagreen. Yes, of Talkative Moms. We have Madame Emilia Na Ayele Aye. Yes, please. Okay, sure. Okay. I'll push it.
Thank you very much, Sarah. You have been a great hostess today. Thank you for everything. Hello, good evening, everyone. Oh my God, it's been a long day, hasn't it? Must be exhausted. Okay. Well, this is going to be a very short conversation about female reproductive health. I chose to moderate this conversation because I am so super interested in the conversation. I know how important it is to most of us. So even though we don't talk about it often, we need it. So on that note, just to help us, if there's an empty seat in front of you, please quickly occupy it. Let's come like really, really close to the stage, and then let's have this conversation real quick. Whilst we do that, I will introduce our speakers here so we know who they are. So I'll start with Emilia. And thanks, ladies, for being on here with me. Really appreciate it. Emilia Na Ayele Ayi is a multiple award-winning Ghanaian journalist with over 12 years of experience, certified by the Institute of Commercial Management in the United Kingdom. Emilia has worked with a number of media organizations in both print and online in Ghana. She served as an editor for yen.com, GH, Ghana's most visited website, for 5 years. Within the period, she rose to become head of desk for entertainment. Emilia is versatile, having covered news stories on politics, society, entertainment, and agriculture. Her area of expertise and interest is gender issues. Her major drive to end infertility or childlessness stigma in Ghana. She is also a customer care and customer satisfaction professional and is the founder of Hoese Ghana, a non-governmental organization with focus on empowering women, supporting and educating children, particularly the girl child, with the NGO. She's currently working with some renowned fertility experts in ending infertility stigma, particularly against women. She has also embarked on other campaigns to end child marriage and curbing period poverty, and is an optimistic individual who believes a positive change is possible with efforts and determination. Let's give a hand for our guest speaker right here. And right next to me, I have Enokwe Grain. She was my senior in school. I have a very hard time calling her just Eno. Like, I struggle with it, but we'll try. Okay, so Endo Grain is the founder and CEO of Talkative Mom LLC. With a passion for maternal health, she built her audience through her candid, sincere storytelling on motherhood-related issues that wasn't addressed at the time. It expanded into a safe platform where mothers share their journeys, seek advice, and meet credible brands. With her experience in marketing strategy, she has consulted for numerous brands looking to within their reach by creating content for their target audience on her platform. Today, Talkative Mom has expanded into a community center, which includes a physical space for programs, a daycare, and kids club. Anna loves speaking engagements and is a maternal health and wellness advocate. A round of applause for the lady. Okay, so let's get right into it, and real quickly too. Can you please just give us like a snippet of how you found yourself, talking about gender issues? Most of the times, the people you see talking about women's issues are women, of course, because it matters to us. But we do have like unique stories of how we end up in these spaces. So if you want to share with us, like, how did you end up, being Talkative Mom or founding Hoise Foundation? So to both of you, we'll take turns. Yeah, you can go
Okay,
first.
so I'll start. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I always like to share experiences with young women, young girls. So, as you read, I'm a journalist by profession. I've been practicing for 13 years. So, during my line of reporting, going out on assignments, I realized that there were so many issues affecting women and girls that a lot of attention were not being paid to. So 2013, I attended my first ever gender training organized by the Gender and Human Rights Documentation Center, Gender Center, 2013. And that was when I was awakened to the various issues that are facing women in the community, in their families, especially when it comes to gender-based violence, domestic violence. Women were going through a lot. And then girls as well. So we have, in the community, I describe them as unscrupulous men who take advantage of young girls and defile them. So you hear in the news that a man has slept with a 4-year-old girl, a 6-year-old girl. What are you looking for in that 6-year-old girl? And I even argue sometimes that, excuse me, to say there are a lot of women offering sex around. There are sex workers around. So if it's the sex that you want, there are women who are willing to offer that for as low as 10 cedis or 5 cedis. So why would you go to defile a girl? And the most painful thing is that when it happens, the family will say, okay, we want to treat it as a family thing. What are you doing to the girl? Those girls grow up and with low self-esteem. They grow up with some pain they want to unleash on just anybody they come across to. I found out that no, these things are happening too much and nobody is talking about them. Nobody is talking about them, and we need to raise awareness. We need to create awareness. We need to liberate the girls, especially those who are being defiled, those who are being raped by some of them, even by their own family members, distant cousins, uncles, family friend. I had a girl from secondary school. She wasn't in my school. I like her because she was humble, and she told me some time ago. She told me, "Nayeli, I have a child." I was like, "Oh, that's nice. So you're married?" I said, "No, I'm not married. Anyway, it's a child, so we like it." Nayeli, could you believe that I was raped? And Esther, I'm sorry that I mentioned her name. You don't know her anyway. It was just, I think, 22 years from school. And she had been raped by who? By a family friend. So they went for a family get together. The guy put something in her drink. She drank, and then he just took her away, impregnated her. So imagine if he had also infected her with HIV. How is he able to reverse this? So a lot of women were facing issues that nobody was talking about. I said, no, I need to turn my attention to this side. And I must also say that I really love women issues and girls. It's a natural thing with me. Yes, I always want to make sure that women are not cheated. So I can say that you can't cheat me. I had this issue with my one of my bosses because he felt I was a woman. I was the only woman on the desk, entertainment desk, and they feel because you're a woman, when we talk, you have to keep quiet. But it won't work with me because I realized that I'm doing the same work as my male counterparts, and I'm even doing more than sometimes doing more than they are. So why do you want to stigmatize or you want to marginalize me because I am a woman? So we needed to empower the women. We should let them know that they have some special and unique ability, capabilities that they need to stand out for. They shouldn't let anybody just dim their light in the name of their women. So that was how I got empowered by the gender training. And since then, I was reporting a lot on women, gender issues. So until 2017, when I got a job as editor with yen.com.gh, I started as an all-round editor. And then 2018, that was when they created the desk. So we had entertainment desk, human interest desk, and what. So I was made head of desk. And I was creating a lot of stories that were going viral on the internet. For instance, Nana McBrown's pregnancy news. I was the first person in Ghana to report it. So you can imagine how hard I was working. And my superiors like me, they love my work. So it was not easy for them to let me go, even though sometimes I'll speak out. I'll say, no, what you are doing is not right. Because I'm a woman, you want to do this to me, I won't accept it. So I did this for 5 years. Every day, I was creating headlines, I was making the numbers. Somebody might think that, oh, she's doing well, so she should be fine. But I wasn't fine. Why? Because I've been confined to the walls of writing entertainment when I wanted or I needed to write on women. So for 5 years, I did nothing on women, and I wasn't happy. I told my father. My father is somebody I always talk with. Even when I was there, he called me. I told him I was at an event, and I'll call him later. So I had another training by World Vision International on child marriage. That was happening in May 2022. When I came back, I said, no, I have to go back to my first love. I won't let this entertainment thing rob me. And a lot of women are going through a lot. So let me just realign and then go back. So that's how come I resigned for my role as head of desk for entertainment at yen.com.gh. Let me just be on my own. So I have resigned from mainstream media. I just do freelance. I write a lot of stories on women and girls. If you Google my name, you see a lot of them. And thankfully, just the same year I resigned in 2022, I got wind of a young girl who had been impregnated in a village in the Adoso, in the eastern region. So I asked the teacher, who did this to the girl? And then he told me that's the norm in the village. Young girl, before they write their BEC, they get pregnant. In that village, it's a norm. So before you get to Form 3 to write your BEC. So you see a lot of them writing BEC with their pregnancy. And they are not shy. It's normal. Oh, so, I'm not so far from those things. It's just their way of life. So I went there, and in that area, the moment you get pregnant, your family is happy because they wash off their hands, and then somebody else is coming to take care of you. Yes. So poverty was the main cause of what was happening there. So the family is happy that, oh, a man has gotten you pregnant, so the man will take care of you, and then we are no longer in charge of your welfare. But I went in there, I engaged the district education sector there. I engaged the family and the community. I told them that the girl is not up to 18 years, so you can't marry her off. If you do that, I'll take an action against you. This girl will deliver her child, and she needs to go back to school to write her BEC. And that was what I did for the young girl. She delivered, they took care of the baby. She went to school to write her BEC. And then she even gained admission to the secondary school. That was how I got my first award in journalism. So if I had not taken that bold action, if I had not taken that bold action to resign from yen.com, and I would sit there with that salary, doing all the headlines, doing all the concern, the juicy entertainment story, I wouldn't have rescued that young girl from that village, and I wouldn't also have received my first ever award that earned me some dollars. So this is how I found my way to reporting now.
Amazing, amazing story. I think the one thing that's running through in this afternoon's conversation is how it's okay to leave one thing and just transition into your next thing if that's what sets your soul on fire. So I just want to throw it out there. If you're thinking about it, maybe it's just about time. Okay. Okay. And please tell us, how did you become Talkative Mom? I've been following you on Instagram. I listen to your stories. I read your captions. Yeah. How did we get here?
Okay, it's a really long story, so I'll try and keep it short, especially because
That'd
I'm
be great.
talkative. So I resonate with a lot of stories that the different speakers have shared. I'm a daddy's girl through and through. I'm the only girl among 5 boys.
Whoa. Okay.
So I was raised to be very vocal, and people think that I'm pampered, but with boys you have to.
You gotta be strong.
Yeah. So I was raised to be vocal, to be bold, to be confident. My mom is super confident.
Right.
And I remember that up until my dad passed away in 2014, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. All I knew is I want to do what my dad wants me to do. And so I lived to please my dad.
Right.
When my dad passed, I was lost. So in 2014, at the time, right after he died, I was working at United Nations Food and Agri Organization, UNFAO. And that was the path my dad wanted me to be on.
Right.
So I was right on track. Right after that, I left. Like, I knew immediately
It was done.
that this is not me. I hate it. Like, what is this thing that I'm doing? Yeah. And right before I left, I had a dream. So in the dream, my mom and I were like setting a table. That was it. But when I woke up, I knew, no, you're supposed to leave this. You're supposed to leave this job.
Wow.
So I told my mom about the dream, and my mom is actually very supportive. I have to give her that. We clash on a lot of things, but one thing about her, she will support you. So she was like, and she's also very, very religious. So if God has showed this to you in a dream, then this is what you're going to do.
It must be it.
I told her, she's like, okay. So I left the job, and then, do the whole funeral, and everything happened. Fast forward, I started, at the time I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I knew I loved kids and, that sort of things. So I was like, oh, maybe let me just start like event planning. Because, the dream said I'm laying a table. So I'm probably supposed to do something with events. I don't know what it is. I loved events. I loved setups, things like that. So I started doing kids theme parties at that time, which wasn't common at all. It was doing well, was picking up. Ghanaians were not really patronizing me like that because they weren't sure what this was. But you get a lot of the foreigners, because they get it at the time. Then Ghanaians like to see foreigners do something, and then all of a sudden, oh, now we want to do.
That's quite accurate.
So now we realized, oh, it was picking up like that. And then 2016 got married. Then I had my first in 2017. So in 2017, I was like, wait, I heard about pregnancy, I know about birth, all these things, but I feel like I was unprepared when I had my baby.
Right.
So I had my baby, and I was the first among my friends to have my baby because I got married quite early. So I realized I couldn't discuss the issues I was having. Like, I'm crying unnecessarily, I'm depressed. Like, there were so many things I was going through, I couldn't discuss with anyone. So actually, when they come, I would share it with them, but they didn't understand it.
Right.
So I was like, I feel like there's some women out there that may appreciate this. Maybe I should tell my story. So 2018 March 11, 2018, launched my blog. I was trying to come up with a name, and instantly in my spirit, I felt a talkative mom, because one, you're talkative. I've been on a talkative list since I was one. Since grade one, I mean. Number one, I even almost got expelled from Holy Child for talking. Yeah, I was on a list that was, Mrs. Nyako. Anyway, so talking. So I was like, okay, talking, and then I'm going to write in this, and it's a blog, so I'm going to be sharing a lot. So, and then I'm a mom, so talkative mom. That was
Makes
it,
sense.
simple, and I didn't think anything of it like, oh, it's going to be a business, nothing, just blog.
Sounds great.
I was
That's a
reading a
great
lot
name.
about bloggers in the US, like mom bloggers, and they were earning. I was like, I know Ghana, they don't probably earn anything, so let me just write. So, but then I don't know whether it was my writing style, whether it was just people who are very concerned, because the way I write and make you feel like you're in the room. So it's very juicy, and it's like there's always a cliffhanger. So they want to see what was the next thing. So people were really reading. And then I said, let me invite other women to share their stories on this platform, because my story is not the only, that's not the only path to motherhood. So other women were also sharing their stories before I realized it had become a community. And then, like that, I'm trying to fast forward it. So it was growing, 2020 happened, COVID happened. Obviously, the events bit I was doing nil, because who's doing events now at that time? And then I said, what can I do now? And at the time, I said, all the women that I know, I mean, at least I know that a lot of women have smartphones. When they find out they're pregnant, they download what to expect, a baby center, a pregnancy app. Yeah. So I spoke to my husband. He's in tech,
Right.
and then I said, I feel like Ghanaian women need an app, and he's like, no, you too, because so the thing about him is, when you're in tech, you get a lot of people coming and say, I have this idea, like it's going to be, it's like the Uber of, then they always say it's the Uber of salons. It's going to be the Uber of this. Like, so he's like, no, you, and I was like, no, this time, it's actually, so I was trying to convince him. He's like, fine, let's see. Well, so he started to build it. And then I was doing the data entry, and then I realized it was a lot of work, because I had like, apart from, I'm fast forwarding, but apart from the blogging and all that, on social media, I'll do a lot of Q&As, we'll answer questions. So I'd become like some kind of, like resource person that people would come to, like, hey, where can I find, where can
Right.
where can I find? So I get every day, like maybe 50 questions, like DMs. Where can I find this? Sometimes even things like bank beds. I'm like, wow, people come to me with random, and even to this, if I open my DMs right now,
You have questions.
all the time. So then I said, we'll put everything in it, and it'll kind of be like a search engine, because someone had actually joked with me and said, oh, you're kind of like the search engine of motherhood. So we'll have like a search engine, and then have like, so we had different features on the app. There was a search engine, there was listings, there was a blog. But this time I'd invited experts on there. So we had like pediatricians, gynecologists, midwives, lactation consultants, like everyone on there. And then we launched. So we launched 1st February 2021, blew up. All of a sudden, in 48 hours, I had gotten emails. So I had become, Talkative Mom was the second parenting app in the UK and the US.
Wow.
And then it and then it was right under Pinterest on the top 100
What?
apps. Like, it blew up in 48 hours. Like, it was all over. Then all of a sudden it's like calls. Like, so now it's like, oh, Unilever, they've reached out. Oh, we want to share, you have our target audience. So when we have products, we want, so I had, then different opportunities were coming. This TV station, we want you to have a TV show here. So then that's where the Talkative Mom show was birthed. Like, it just happened. Everyone who knows that Talkative Mom in 2021, I just blew. All of a sudden. So my husband is looking at me like, oh, okay, this thing is really,
It's a real thing.
it's something that people really needed. It was,
It is
yeah,
the power
it
of
was,
motherhood.
it really hit. And the unfortunate thing, what I learned from that experience was that we were not necessarily prepared. Number two, we were supposed to create a feature that would let people stay on the app.
Right.
For me, I'm all about giving out information. So I was like, let's just give the information out. Like, let people come in. They may not even need to sign in. They come, they download the app, they get the information they need, and then they're out. So they were not staying on the app. So people stayed on the app. Those 48 hours, they stayed on the app because it was new. It was loaded with information. Once they got the information, that was it. And then there are other issues as well. But yeah, that was the main learning points. But at the time too, there were all these opportunities that would also come. So then I was doing all these other things. Yeah. So right now, as we speak, we decided to take down the app only because the app and my business name is the same, Talkative Mom. And I said, if it gets to a point where I even want to maybe sell some shares or sell, I don't want it to be to clash with my business. So I wanted to have a different name, and we want to redo certain things. So and then let me just also touch on the advocacy bit. How I became a maternal advocate was just by chance. I didn't set out to say I'm going to be a maternal health advocate. It was just that I would share a lot of things that I felt were supposed to be the natural thing, like if you go to a hospital and you're mistreated, leave. Go to another hospital. But I realized that it was almost like a lot of women like, oh, really? I didn't know. I thought I had to stay. And I was like, no, I thought this was like just, like there were certain things I thought were common sense, but I realized no, because of how we are raised to be very timid, not everybody feels like they can leave. They feel like I have to stay, or maybe the doctor knows more than me, so let me stay there. But yeah, the doctor knows more than you, the midwife knows more than you, but it's still your body. If you're unhappy somewhere, you should leave. So there were all these things. I'll say, go seek a second opinion. Oh, this thing that they said about this diagnosis, did you seek a second opinion? Like, there were things that, again, to me, it was common sense. I didn't need a medical knowledge to share that. But when I shared that, it was almost like, oh wow. So yeah, I just decided I would advocate more for women. I would also make sure that I bring on experts, because I don't know a lot of these things. So let me bring on the people who know. And people also didn't know who to go to. So because I kind of knew I'd connected myself with the right people, I would share. So if you come to me with a problem with your child, I'm not going to diagnose you in my DMs. I'm going to tell you, please go to your pediatrician, or if you need a pediatrician, this is the person to go to. So then I'll connect you. And
That's fantastic. Fantastic. And it's just how you learn all these new things when you start something small. It's like you never really know until you get into the arena, really, ladies. Like if you're looking to learn something, I'm not sure you thought that Unilever would be calling you at any point in time, but it just so happens that once you're in the process of doing the work, some of these things come to you. So that was basically what I took from that. But let's talk about the fertility bit. In no, let me not mention a date, but let's say when I was 24, I realized that getting diagnosis on female reproductive health issues took so long. Like most people usually would go to JHS, SHS, university. If you're not lucky, probably get married before you start paying attention to some of these things. And I thought that it was wild. Can we just talk a little about women's, reproductive health? I know that, Emilia, you deal with, infertility as a subject, like you do a lot of conversations about that. Can you share with us, like, what are the stories that are going around? What are the things that we should be paying attention to? What is the whole, concepts of infertility and women's health? How relevant is it to the young woman? How early should I be looking at learning about my body and stuff like that?
How early? I like that. I always tell women that if a girl child will have fertility issues in the future, you will see it in when she has her first menses, what we call the menarche. You should have your menses at teenage. So that should be between the ages of 13 and then 15. 13 and then 15. But we have girls, even today, we have girls who are menstruating at 8,
11.
9,
Wow.
10. If you have a girl child or you have a younger sister menstruating before age 13, it means she's likely to have an issue. And after age 15, so that is 16, 17, 18, so late menses, early menses, it means that you have an issue. So one thing that not many people know is that as a woman or as a girl, when you give birth to a girl, all the eggs she will ever have in her lifetime, she comes with them. So if a girl is supposed to have 1,000 eggs, she'll have it by at birth. You won't develop eggs as you are going. Your eggs won't come as you are going. So when you start menstruating at the age of 13, 14, 15, you are shedding eggs. So if, let's do some calculation right now. If you were given 500 eggs, 500, and you are menstruating, you've menstruated for 20 years, how many eggs have you lost already? Yes. Yes. So if the girl is menstruating before age 13, it means that there is a problem. There is a hormonal problem that is causing her to menstruate earlier than she should. And if she's menstruating later, it means there is another hormonal problem that is inhibiting her menstrual flow, the reproductive health. So if you're a woman or you're a mother, you should pay attention to these details. Unfortunately, as she said, we don't.
No.
Our mothers are expecting that one day you come home and tell her, Mommy, I saw blood somewhere. Okay, then they will do a talk for you, and then that's all. But as a woman, as a mother, is it not true? They want you to come and tell them you saw your menses. Oh, then they inform your daddy, they inform a few family heads, and then they do a talk, and then some eggs for you to eat. And then what follows? But the mother has to monitor. Is my daughter having the menses every month? If she's not having it every month, don't say it is normal. When I started, it was not coming every month. But look at me, I gave birth to you. Times have changed. A lot of things are happening. Even the food we are eating today.
Yeah.
Can we compare the quality to what they were eating before? No. So if you are a mother and you have a daughter, check the time she menstruated. If it is less than and below 13 years, there is likely to be a problem. That is why you need to do follow-up to monitor. So if your girl is not having a menses every month, after 2 years, if it's still the same, you need to take her to the hospital so that it will be checked what is the problem. Because we have a common cause of infertility in women, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Unfortunately, not many people know about it. The information on PCOS is very little.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, so Jose Ghana, last year, September, we held our first ever event on PCOS, awareness creation. And we had a lot of women coming through. You know, according to the World Health Organization, if there are 10 women, about 3 to 4 of them have PCOS. So it's likely that in this room, there are women who have PCOS, but they don't know. Because sometimes the symptoms are not glaring. So you won't know that this thing that is happening to me is because sometimes, so one common symptom about PCOS is that you have anovulation or you don't have regular menstruation. So you menstruate this month, next month it will not come, 4 months that it comes. Some of the women I have encountered, they only menstruate 2 times in a year. So if you are menstruating 2 times in a year, how do you get pregnant? You need to ovulate for sperm to fertilize the egg before you get. But if you are not menstruating, it means you are not ovulating, and so there is no egg to be fertilized. Unfortunately, our mothers don't pay attention to this. We won't blame them. We know that they are occupied. They are preoccupied with other things. But we need to conscientize ourselves about this. As she mentioned, you finish JHS, secondary school, university, you marry, and then you only marry, and then you are not able to give birth, you are not able to get pregnant. That is when you be like, what is wrong with me? Let me go to the hospital to check. Sometimes by the time you get to the hospital, it will be too late. And another thing that is causing infertility in women is pelvic inflammation diseases, PID. So if you're a woman, if you're a young woman or a grown-up woman, and then you feel pain in your abdomen, what kind of pain is this? And it's not ovulation pain. You know, sometimes during your menses, PMS, you feel slight movement in your, if it is not about menstruation and you feel pain in your abdomen, don't think it is normal. It is not. There may be an infection that if you don't treat on time can cause irreversible damage to your fallopian tube and you are not able to get pregnant. Fertilization happens in the fallopian tube. So the moment it is blocked or there's something that has it's inflamed, you won't be able to get pregnant. These are things that we need to pay attention to. So if you're a woman and you feel pain, like abnormal pain in your abdomen, don't think that it is normal. Go and get pelvic scan, ultrasound scan, and then see what problem is. You know, just since September last year, I've had over 50 women coming to me with fertility issues. 50. And most of them have issues, they have hormonal issues. Some of them, they have PIDs that have left, they've not treated for a long time. And you know, as women, four things. When we talk about fertility in women, it hinges on four things, four main things: your uterus, which is the womb, the ovary, that is the egg, the fallopian tube, and then your hormones. We have some hormones that if they are too much or too low in your system, it prevents pregnancy. Some women will get pregnant all right, but they will miscarry. And you know what is happening to me? This is the third time. Or maybe my grandmother is doing me. But last time I visited the village, they cooked yam for me. They put some, nobody has put anything in anything. You have hormonal imbalance. You have PIDs you've not treated. So these are some of the things that we need to look out for. So I've been advising young women, if you are contemplating marriage or you are planning to get married, do yourself good by going for an ultrasound scan, pelvic scan, to see if you have any problem there, to start treatment. Go and do hormonal profile to see if you have any hormonal imbalance, to start treatment, because some of the treatment can take as long as 1-2 years. If you are fortunate, 4 years. Some of the women were actually treated for the hormonal imbalance after 4 years. And let me make the announcement here that one of our women is pregnant. Finally, after 3 years, she's been struggling with pregnancy for 3 years. So what I've done for Hosegana, I believe that we need to take steps, practical steps. It's not just about advocacy work. Let's end infertility stigma. Our campaign is to end infertility stigma. And I'm sure you know the stigma that women face a lot. When there is childlessness in the marriage, automatically it is the woman's fault. And they'll be pointing, accusing fingers at the woman. I've interviewed a lot of women. Somebody told me she was accused of arranging stones in her stomach so that she can't get somebody who wants to have a child. Somebody who desperately wants to have a child would arrange stones in her stomach. No. But the person has an issue. And that will lead me to tell you what inspired me to take up Osegana. There was a watcher seller who was a friend, an elderly woman, Amelia. I relocated to that area, and I love Wache very much. So I went to her to buy Wache. And I saw that she was always quiet, always keeping to herself. So I'll make fun of her. Amelia, Amel. So I'll pass by, go to work, and greet her. Amel, I'll come back. So one day, she came to a shop to buy something. I happened to be there. And then she called one of the girls to send on an errand. Immediately, she called her. The mother said, I don't know if you speak Ghana, but I'll say it in Ghana. I'll tell you in English. Oh, the sun is too hot. Go and sit down. When the sun, the heat comes down, go and buy whatever she wants. Then Amelia kept quiet. So I looked at her, and I saw from her demeanor that, no, there is something wrong. But I didn't bother, and I left. So I told her, Amel, so I'll see you later. She said, okay. So the next, about a few days later, I went to buy Wache. And then she told me, there was a man who came with a girl, a small girl in front of a bicycle. Then she told me, Mantina, that's my husband. I said, oh, Amel, you didn't tell me to greet him. He's not on good terms with me. He only comes to buy Wache, to take Wache when he needs it. And you see the girl he bought? I said, yes. That's the child who has been born for him by a new wife. I said, Amel, so you don't have a child? She said, no. Then I tried to remember the attack on her by the young girl's woman. I was like, oh, wow. Then she told me she should come later for a discussion. So she came and she opened up to me. It was pathetic listening to her that I had to cry. She was being stigmatized for not having a child by her husband, her sisters. You know, they are Muslims, and so they married early. So she was the first to marry. She's the first child. She married, and after 6-8 years, nothing to show for. And her sister got married, and then they get pregnant, they're having children. And they were stigmatizing her. Shouldn't they have supported her? Even her husband and the community members. So when I realized that this was the issue, I was like, oh, Amel. So I always had to go by Wache, even if I didn't feel for it, because I wanted to create an avenue where I could have conversation with her to let her feel less of the pain. She died. Yes. Amelia died. I left the area. I relocated to a new place, and then I was called last year, February. I was driving to work, and then one guy in the house called me, now your friend has died. I said, which friend? Me, I have a lot of friends there. Amelia was like, what? What happened to her? Because I was calling her phone, it wasn't going through for 2 weeks. I said, and me too, I didn't want to go to that area. If I live somewhere, I don't want to go back. I promised to come visit her, but I didn't honor that promise. And when I heard the news that she had passed, it really pained me. Society should have supported her rather than stigmatized her. She was battling with endometriosis. It's one cause of infertility that only will not deny you the joy of having children, but will cause you pain, deep pain. She was always in pain. She was always anemic because you lose a lot of blood, and she's not happy. She's always bleeding. See that she's always bleeding. You see her eyes very white. Amel, you don't have blood. Say, yes, so I'll do some blood. And then she was pressurized by the society to have a child. So she was drinking every concoction. Unless you don't tell her that, I mean, like, this one will open up your womb. This will open your womb. So sometimes she'll go to the hospital, she'll be given medication, she'll put them aside because somebody has promised that, oh, this one I drank it worked for this person. And so she abused the concoction. She was admitted at Bridge. She'd been going for her visitation. On that day, she didn't return. She died on her hospital bed without anybody, any family member on her side. By her side, yes. So that is the extent at which women are stigmatized for not having children. But why should it be so? So this is what actually inspired me to take up the cause to fight for women who are yet to have their own children. Sometimes it's not even their fault. So as we delve into this conversation, we'll come to see some of the misconceptions about fertility that are pinned on women. So as women, let's be very aware of our system. As I sit here, if I have pain in my abdomen, I know this pain is not normal. If you are not having your menses regularly, don't say it is normal. It is not normal. Take action now. Otherwise, if you delay, you regret soon.
Take action now. Jeez. The reason why I find these conversations so imperative is because most of us, I think that we're even like older, but we have like younger people that we're connected with, and we should spread the word. Go check. Check and check again. Be sure that you're okay. Don't take anything for granted. You're having menstrual cramps. What is causing it? Ask questions. I think that the problem that I have with our side of the world is when there's something wrong with you, you're supposed to just endure it. As against like asking questions, what could this be? What could that be? So I just want to encourage you to take action right now, and let's take the conversation a bit more into motherhood. I've heard you tell stories about just the process of carrying the pregnancy into delivering, and then after delivery. Sometimes I feel like we don't have these conversations enough. Can you just like open up what are some of the things to pay attention to? What are like the pertinent issues when it comes to pregnancy, carrying the pregnancy through to term, and then the postpartum issues that come with it, and then maybe things that you could put in place? Because you made a statement that you felt like you weren't prepared. What could have made you feel more prepared when you had your first?
Okay, so for those who don't know, I'm a mother of three. Um, okay, so with my first, when I look back at my first, it's laughable because I look at how this birth was, and like I felt like such a champion because I was well equipped with information versus first time. The first time I just went in there, and just as our mothers would say, oh, we're speaking tree, like oba bi oba radio oba juma you know. So it's like, as a woman, this is normal. Like nobody has to coach you through anything. You are fine. Versus now that I realized that we needed so much information, and we still do. My pregnancies, fortunately, are very uneventful.
Right.
I'm never nauseous. I've never experienced morning sickness. Like,
Oh wow.
yeah, my pregnancy is like it's a breeze. It's a breeze. All I do is eat. Like I can eat, like eat. I just keep eating. That's all I do till the D-Day, and then I have my baby. So it's uneventful. But my births are usually traumatic.
Right.
So with the first, for instance, breeze throughout the pregnancy, birth, I was in labor for 48 hours. I think that's something I've shared a lot. And now that I know what I know, I would have known that part of the reason why my labor was delayed was because I was so scared.
Right.
And when that is happening, you can't even dilate because you are so scared. The way my personality is, for instance, before I watch a movie, I want you to tell me what the end is before I go and watch. I don't like suspense. I hate it. Yeah, when I don't know what an outcome is, I don't want, like, I don't, yeah, so let me not start that movie at all. When you tell me, oh, it has a happy ending, I'll watch, or it has a sad ending, I can prepare myself emotionally. But when I don't know what the end is, I hate it.
Right.
So if I knew that after the birth, I will be okay, because I don't want to scare anyone here, but sometimes when you're about to, I'm probably going to scare someone. But when I'm
Go
about
for
it,
it.
so for me, for someone who has had all natural births, no epidural, just went through the pain throughout to
job,
the end.
great
Not that I was doing it to be a champion, but the way my births went, I couldn't get an epidural, even though I asked for it. So because I went through the real pain, I really thought I was going to die.
Right.
Yeah, like I
There
really
you
thought,
are.
yeah, I really thought I was going to die. So every time after my birth, I see that this is a miracle. Like you can see God really lifted you from something. And like it's
You
so,
went through it.
yeah, like it's so humbling. Like you feel like your life was really in the hands of the midwives that way. Like you really feel that way. So when you are out, you just thank God that everything went smoothly.
Shout outs to the great midwives out there.
Like shout out, no, shout out to the midwives. Like I
Real shout
respect
out.
them so well. I mean so much. So anyway, so my pregnancies are uneventful, but I understand and I empathize with those who go through it because I have like some of my best friends have like they would throw up from the day that they
Beginning to
find
end.
out that they are pregnant. Before they started having the symptoms, they weren't throwing up. But when they go and get tested, all of a sudden then they started, I don't know. So from that day till the end, they threw up or they are not sure, or they go through like, yeah, it's a lot. So I know what that's like, and I know what birth is also like, just also because of my community, because my community is made up of women who may not necessarily be able to also speak up. One of the things that I do with regards to advocacy is just I don't care what the name of your hospital is. Like whether you have name or whatever, I will post it if you've done something wrong. So that thing, people know that thing about me. So if you feel that a hospital mistreated you and it was, and so when you share it with me, I will post it. And so all the different scandals that have come out from different hospitals, this is your platform, so I don't want to.
No, that's fine.
But there've been different scandals that have come out, been on news. Then all of a sudden it will quiet down. Whenever it's out there, I will post it. When I post it, you see that a woman will share a message with me. This hospital, this and this is what happened to me. Then I'll be like, oh, really? So I'll crop out your name because I have to protect you. And then I'll post it. When I posted, you realize that so many others are also, so the same thing happened to me at this hospital or this doctor. I'm like, wow. So, yeah, so then we share stories like that just to inform people of maybe places to avoid or what to look out for when you're going to have your baby and that sort of thing. And then I also share the good things. So I mean there's a good hospital with good personnel and all that. I will share that as well. So you can make informed decisions. With my recent birth, for example, I had a birth plan that I follow through and through. It doesn't always go according to plan, but sometimes it's good as a woman to have a plan. Don't let the hospital dictate to you that, you know what, there's a woman that she told me that I asked her what kind of pregnancy, what kind of birth she was going. Is it a CS or a vaginal? And she was like, oh, everything is fine. She's low risk, but the nurses told her, oh, Michelle, and I was like, but if there's no complication, why? And she was like, well, that's what they said. And I was like, no, that should not be it. You're low risk, right? They said everything is fine. Nobody should look at you to judge. Who's to judge that you can? I don't look like someone who can push. I'm not saying everyone has to push, but I'm just saying that if there's nothing medically wrong with you, you don't have to allow them to let you go under the knife. And so there was a lot of pushback, and she changed hospitals. She went to a different hospital, and she gave birth vaginally. She gave birth vaginally successfully because there was no issue with her. So you have a birth plan. You go and have a discussion with your doctor. You tell the doctor, due to the fact that my pregnancy is this and that and that, I would like CS or vaginal. I would like this person in the room with me. Yeah, and it's your rights. Like, so for me, I had the opportunity to have a doula with my last baby. So the doula assistant, with the midwives, not necessarily assistant, we are kind of assisting all of us. the midwife, and the jobs never clashed. The midwife did their job, the doula did her job.
Right.
I said, I want the doula. I don't want my mother. This was my own mother. I love my mother. My mother loves me. But my mother gives me anxiety when I'm about to have my baby. So I said, Mommy,
Not today.
a funny thing, let me just share a quick story. When I was about to go and give birth, I was giving birth at Senel Hospital. I love Senel so much. It's at Tema, and I'm even still gone. When I was leaving, and my mother saw me, she said, "It's a Hifana Hofa," and I was like, "Famato Weniso," and I was like, "Yeah, and those were her words, and I'm like, I'm about to have a baby. Like that's how she is. She's always panicking, but it's from a good place. So I'm like, I don't want you there because you delayed this birth. So I had a doula there. So I told the doctor in advance, I want to have a doula. What else? Different things that, for example, even in terms of medication, things like that, we had a full discussion. After having that full discussion, I sent an email with the full thing that I said. After doing that, I asked, print everything. I don't want anyone to think that, oh, maybe because she's talkative mom. Really, you have a right to do all this. They printed, everybody knew what I wanted. So we did exactly that. I said, I don't want to lie on my back to have a baby. It is unnatural. And I'm just telling everyone over here, it is extremely unnatural. Having a baby on your back puts so much strain on your back, on yourself. It's too much effort to push a baby on your back. It is not how God created us to have babies. You're supposed to either squat. You can squat, and you realize that it's easier when you're having. You can be on all fours. There's so many ways you can have a baby apart from lying on your back. The first day I had a baby on my back, I knew it was unnatural.
Right.
Like I knew, I was like,
You feel it in your body.
are you like this? About to push a baby this way. I'm sorry. No. It was, yeah. So I told him, I said, I'm not going to have a baby on my back. I'm going to squat to have a baby. And everything. And that was exactly how I mean, fortunately, I had my baby. But go to a hospital that listens to you and advocate for yourself. But if you know that you cannot advocate for yourself in that moment, because sometimes it's tough, get someone. It doesn't have to be a doula. You don't have to pay anybody. Get someone. Get a relative, a relative like any of us who will talk and champion what you want to be there and make sure that things go according to plan, and you'll be fine.
Okay. That's a lot of information. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. I just want to turn the conversation a certain way. I'm 20 years old. What are the key things that I need to know about fertility and about being a mom? That is, what do I need to know? Like, what's my starter pack at 20 years old? What are the essential things I must know or I must do?
Okay, so I work with a number of medical doctors, fertility experts, and so I learn a lot from them. And they say the age that a woman is most fertile is 25 years.
Right.
25 years. Because the calculation we did earlier, if you came with 500 eggs and you started menstruating at 13 and you are 30 years now, calculate how many eggs you have left.
The eggs are running low.
Yeah, you're menstruating them away. That is why for some of the women, there is a hormonal test you can do to see how many eggs you have left in your ovarian store. So if it is below 3 or 4, it is low. And you start getting low numbers by the time you get to, 25, most fertile. So 26, there you have about 70% left. By the time you get to 35, you have depleted 50% of the ovarian store. And don't forget also that just as we have sperms that are abnormal, without head, without tail, we also have some of the eggs that are not of good quality. So you imagine that you're menstruating the good quality eggs away, and it's left with the low quality or the bad one, and you've already menstruated 50% of it away. It means your chances have reduced naturally. So I advise women, if marriage comes, or some women now say, I won't wait for marriage anymore because I've been waiting and it's not coming and my eggs are getting finished. In fact, since I started this work, I have been speaking a lot with my friends. And I'm not married myself, so it makes it very easy for me to talk with them. Because if I were married, they'll say, because you're married, you're coming to give us pressure. Yes. I was telling my sister the other day. So I've been speaking with my friends. I've been mounting pressure on them because the eggs are getting finished. Oh, the eggs are getting finished.
Wait, Emilia, let me ask you this question. You know, since we started announcing this summit, I'd been planning to ask this question. In light of this information, because I learned about this a while ago, should we start advocating for not like early marriage or like the 12, no, but like after SS, should we start considering it? Because
Zoe, you know what I think?
no, I want this to be a genuine conversation. Like, what do we genuinely
You
think?
know what I've been telling my friends now? That if I knew I would get to this stage without being, because I want to marry before I have children. My Christian values, non-negotiable. I would have married long ago when I finished
Ladies.
secondary school. Because when I was in school, my mother would be like, you see, sometimes you even go to see your friend here and then she's assuming you've gone to a man. If you get pregnant, you put your baby in your child box. I won't take a baby for you to go to school. So we were very careful. In my house, you have to be very careful. So now she's mounting pressure on me. And I also tell her that, okay, at the time that I wanted to have a child for you threatened me that I'll put the baby in my child box next to my Milo and take to school because you take care of the child. But you see, that is a genuine question. I mean, and let's not also forget that there are women who marry early, but they won't be able to have their child. I interviewed one 85-year-old man who married at the age of 16. He had a first child at 35 after 19 years. So the whole thing is that it depends on individuals.
Right.
We are different people. My grandmother, as I sit here, my father's mother has 10 children. She's a lefty herself like me. So 5 of my aunties and uncles are left. 5 of them are right. My grandmother gave birth to my last uncle. I'm even older than him. When she was over 50 years. Yes. So for some women, the eggs are many. I know one woman in my area. Who gave birth to twins. Not identical twins or fraternal twins. Meaning that 2 eggs were available to be fertilized. 50 years.
Wow.
Yes. So we shouldn't look at the bleak side alone. We should also look at the success stories to cheer people up. In fact, that is what I also used to console myself.
So you're saying that there's hope.
That my grandmother had 10 children. She had a last born at 50. In fact, she was being mocked though, and she stopped because my father, her children were having children. She was having grandchildren. You are also still having children. So she was being laughed at. She was being mocked. So why they were even gossiping? But you're having grandchildren. You're having, so you back for your own child. You go and back for your grandchild, and she had to stop. She had to stop. But I can't rely on my grandmother's ovarian store to assume that I also have a lot there. So if you have the chance and marriage can marry. When you marry, don't say that, oh, as for me, I want to enjoy life with my husband small. I don't want babies crying, babies holding my dress, baby. So I'll put childbirth on hold and then enjoy. You don't know when your eggs are getting finished. You don't know how many. I'm not sure. I don't know how many of us here have done the AMH test to know how much eggs we have. Anybody here to show by hand?
No.
So you don't know. You've done your AMH. That's good. But if you've not done the AMH, you don't know how many you have in it. So if you get a chance, have children. Don't say, I want to go to school. I want to do my master's. I want to do my PhD. You can go to school at any time, but you can't have a child at any time. Let's face the reality. I mean, let's be very honest with ourselves. You can go back to school at any time, but you can't have a child at any time, especially as women. So please, the answer to your question is that if you get the chance, when we finished school, Justina married when we finished secondary school, 1890. She married. We're all gossiping. Hey, but this girl, to why she won't finish school? No, you marry. She now has 4 children. I don't have any. Do you get it? She got a chance to marry, and she's now again past. She's gone back to school. It's the same degree. She's also going to get a degree. So you can get your degree 1990, and then somebody gets a degree 2024. Is it not the same degree? Or is there any other value attached to it? So please, when you get, this is an advice from my heart. If you get the chance, marry. And if you marry, start having children. You can go to school later. For school matter. You can go, it's not bad to want to go to school.
I cannot, you want to be modern, but then you can't but sort of share. Like I kind of agree, but yeah, to each his own. Yeah. Okay, let's hear it.
But at the same time, I don't necessarily like to push.
Motherhood. Well, that's if you want it.
If you get the chance, if the chance presents itself,
Once, yes.
You actually have to want to be a mom too.
To be a mom.
That it's not just about like, okay, my eggs are finishing, I have to have a baby.
Yeah.
It's a long way, and it's a lot of sacrifice, and then so when you think about it, you're like, do you really
Want it.
if you don't if
not to catch you, but you know that yes, I should have added that I'm referring to women who
Want.
have interest in marriage. I mean, sorry, interest in having children. Now, for a lot of them, it's not about marriage anymore. They just want to have their children and just go and enjoy. But you know that most of these women, especially in Africa and Ghana, they want to have children. Some of them are actually confused. Oh, I won't. I know a couple of girls who said, "Oh, me, I won't have children now." So if you have children now, they are. But now she has 2 children, and she even wants more. So it means that at a point she was confused. Later, she comes to realize that she wants children. And if you allow that, my problem is that if you allow the eggs to get finished, at the end of the day, you go and buy eggs, somebody's egg. Do
Right.
you get it? And you're going to spend money. I'm speaking from experience. The women who have come to me, sometimes my phone will ring from morning till evening, and I am not able to do anything else. I get so confused. So I'm speaking from experience. Some of them now want to have children. 49, 50, 51. Now you ask them, are you menstruating? Oh, sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't come. It's a sign that you've depleted your ovarian. So if you have interest in having children, better do it now than wait for the future when the eggs are finished. And you have to go and buy an egg. Accra Fertility Center is one of our centers we partner with. An egg costs 8,000 cedis. Somebody's egg.
like if the person decided
Ladies, let's listen, please. Let's listen.
work or go to school and then have kids later, then most likely you have enough savings to buy that egg. So I mean, it's a choice. It's yeah.
Actually, I think that being realistic and being the African girl, I think that it doesn't make sense to intentionally deplete your eggs, waste your eggs, and go and buy another person's egg.
I think we'll agree to disagree.
Yeah.
So we'll agree to
Yeah.
disagree. Yeah, because it's yeah. I think
Some of
because
them
you
can't
see,
afford it.
yeah, but there's such a thing as resentment, right? Where you've sacrificed, like you wanted to go to school, you wanted this job, or and then now you decided to go and have babies. There's nothing more depressing than being stuck at home with your kids when that's not what you wanted, and you really wanted to, yeah, you really wanted that career or that. I believe that when you are ready and you want to have babies, then you prepare towards that. I also agree with going to check, the eggs and finding out what your options are and all that. So maybe let's say if you can afford to freeze them, it's super expensive, but if you can afford to cool, if you realize that, okay, looking at the number of eggs I have left, it looks like I may need to have babies now, and that is your choice, that's fine. But if you're forced to do it, and you do and you didn't want to have the babies, you will hate that baby. And for me, one thing about me is that when it comes to kids, I'm so passionate about children because I want only people who want them to have them. It's so unfair to that child when
Yeah.
a child comes into the world and then they are with parents that resents them.
Right.
Yeah, that is the worst. There are adoptions. There's so many options to have babies. Now there's so many ways to have babies. So let's
Okay,
those
let's
who,
establish
yeah.
a middle ground here.
Yeah.
So I'm 20 and I don't know whether I will want them in the future or I want them now or what to do. I think that a great middle ground will be maybe sitting down and having a conversation with yourself. And understanding that maybe you don't have all the answers right now, but with what you have within, your grasp right now, this is the decision you have made so that you can be accountable and responsible for that decision. Because if I'm at 20 and I don't know, how many eggs I have left, are they depleting? Would I want to do a PhD? How many years is that going to take? Because I know somebody who planned to do a PhD for, I think, was it 5 years or so, and it ended up being 10 years. So what if it goes that way? You can't tell. So how about you, sit have an honest conversation, do the tests, run all the scans and stuff, and have the information. Then with the information we have, let's make a decision early enough so that it doesn't happen that, oh, well, if I had known or if I had thought about it, which is why we're having this conversation right now, so that we know the factors at play. You don't want to wait. You don't want to want them, and then at the point where you want them, you can't have them. And then you don't also want to have them and then later resent them because you probably sacrifice, some career or some, for that. That kind of, okay, you want to say
And
something?
one last thing that I wanted to touch on was the fact that I think you had mentioned something about when you get married, like, you should quickly have kids, right? And it's good. It's also
if you have the interest.
If you have the interest.
If you want to have children.
Yes, because honestly, and I cannot emphasize this enough. Kids, I love my kids, but kids change a marriage so much. Like your marriage, you and your husband being by yourself with no kids versus you and your husband with kids. The way you are nodding is so different that I would love for everyone to experience that bit of not having kids yet, and then also experience having kids. Yeah, kids bring joy. Look, sometimes you may be upset with your husband and your child will come and do something funny and it diffuses all. There's that bit, but there's also the bit of a lot of arguments that has to do with different parent styles and different, you feeling like you are the one doing all the work and this person, there's all that. So I really do feel that I had my first was like 6 months into the marriage, and I did not want to have my first at that time. And I'm very honest about this
At
thing.
what age did you have your first?
I had my first when I was 20. I mentioned it here, so people know my age. But I was my
child's name.
I was
age. So
no, I was my 20s.
Your 20s.
Yes, no. So I get that.
Make your point.
But
I'll make a follow up to that, but you make it.
What I'm saying is that, so for me, it was my choice. I really wanted to have, I really wanted to get married at that time. My husband and I were both ready, and we got married. I didn't want to have my child at the time I had my child, though, because I felt like I got married young, and so let's enjoy ourselves. But of course, we didn't protect ourselves.
Got married young.
Again, it was my choice, but it was my choice. I don't want to, because I got married young, I don't want to be over here projecting and telling people that I got married young, so try and get married young as well.
But question, I know that you don't want to do that.
Uh-huh.
Is it a better option?
No, all I'm trying to say here is, no, you see, I just don't want anyone leaving here feeling forced.
Pressured. Oh no,
and
you
feeling
should.
pressured.
You should.
Yeah, I want it to be everyone's choice as to what exactly they want to do. You can also decide to go for that job or to. That's what I believe. But again, I get your intentions is great. I get that the medical bit and all that. But like I said, you can get your ex checked, and if you feel you want to have a baby because your ex are a few, that's fine. That's your choice. But please don't force yourself to have a baby and then end up resenting that baby. That's
okay. So let me say that I'm not imposing that on anyone. I'm just speaking from my experiences with a woman.
Right.
With a woman. So even the World Health Organization suggests that if you marry a woman 35 years and above and you marry, don't wait till 1 year if you're not having a child before you go to the hospital to seek help. If you're a woman below 35 years, you can wait for 1 year. So I am just sharing my experience because of my encounter with a woman, especially now they can't afford IVF. They can't afford to buy an egg. Yes. So I'm not trying to impose on anyone. It's just my experience. Just as Zoe said, take your own decision.
Yeah.
Sit back. What do you want to do? Weigh the options and then take the best one that suits you.
Okay. Oops. Okay, so I have the great question, like the greatest question to end this session. And it is, so what advice do you want to give to women who feel overwhelmed by the dual demands of pursuing both career goals while also family responsibilities like children?
Okay, so I actually get that question all the time when I'm on a panel. Yeah, all the time. It's always like, oh, how do you balance? And then I immediately say, no, take away the word balance. So that's my advice for anyone here. Please take away that word balance because, again, it puts a lot of pressure on you. you can have it all. You just cannot have it all at once. So, and that saying is very popular for a reason. Right now, as we speak, like I already said, I said I'm a mother, but I'm here without my kids. So who is looking after the kids? Do you get me? Does that mean that I'm a terrible mother because I'm not everywhere with them? Or when I'm working, who is watching them? Or when I'm with the kids, who is managing the business?
Yes.
There are all these things that are happening, but what you have to understand is that for me, so what I do is I am at a point where I can delegate,
Right.
or that I can afford to pay someone to watch them, or I have a family member that can watch over that person that is being paid to watch the kids. Not everybody would have that. So I don't want anyone to feel guilty because all I'm doing right now is just mothering, and now I don't have any business, or my business is suffering because of it, or they are, with their in their business, and then their child is being watched by. Just know that, unfortunately, as a woman, I mean, I'm going to speak for a woman because I'm not a man. I don't know what that is like. You can actually have it all. You can have this, you can have everything, but not at the same time. And don't let society put you in such a point where, or it's a position where you feel like you have to be superwoman and achieve it all. You can do it at your own pace, in bits and all that, and it is achievable, but it will not all be perfect. You're not going to be, oh, a perfect wife, a perfect mother, a perfect businesswoman. You realize that something will have to give at some point. So you choose that thing that is going to give at some point. But that thing called balance, where they think that everything's, it's impossible. It's humanly impossible. You are one person. So how are you going to be able to do everything at once? So I would say that let's be gracious to ourselves when it comes to those things. I think she had mentioned talking to a number of women, and this is some of the things that I get a lot because of the discussions I've had with women, where when they ask me that question, I realize that they see me as like, and I'm trying to let you, and I'm trying to let you know that no, I'm also suffering just how you are also suffering. Like, I also experience mom guilt whenever, like, it's been hours. It's my second speaking engagement today. Like, I've not seen my kids. And I have an 11-month-old baby. You see, so these are some of the things. But you sacrifice so that you can do this thing, and then you can go back and do that without you beating yourself up about it. And I think that's my only advice.
I want to give for that. I just want to take you back one step. You mentioned and I just wanted to go back to that being 20-year-old question, that what are the key things in motherhood that you would probably share with somebody who's 20 years? Maybe they're wanting to get married, because I have a friend who got married at, I think, 21, 22. Well, like right after university. What should I know? Right.
Oh.
I think my is on. So what should I know? What should I prepare for? What are like things that I should expect? Now that I feel like, okay, maybe my eggs are running out, I need to have a kid. What are things I should be looking forward to?
So I feel like my advice changes over a period of time based on where my kids are. But so where my kids are, they're all different ages. So 7-year-old, 6-year-old, and then an 11-month-old. And with the kids, so the thing about motherhood is that it's humbling. Okay, you start to see yourself in your child, like even bad, good, all that. Your husband, you see some traits in your kids. You have to observe them and then be able to nurture them and mother them the way that they are supposed to be mothered. All the kids are different, so I don't try to do the same. People, that was the worst advice people gave me, which was like, oh, buy the same thing for them, or they will never fight. They will still fight. My kids still fight. My boys are a year apart, so I treat them like twins. I buy the same things for them, and they still manage to fight. But I realized very quickly that my first son was exactly like me, and my second son was exactly like my husband. My first son is an extrovert, and my second son is an introvert. So the introvert, he doesn't birthday parties or things like that. Things that, when we're growing up, do you have a choice? If your mother says you are going, you're going. But maybe that Kolana you are saying, say, on Penny Pano, he's an introvert. He really does not want to be, he doesn't, his social, yeah, socially, he doesn't want to be with people. And that's how my husband is. My husband, you never catch him at a program like this, So why would I force him to come? And that's one, that one is marriage. I don't even want to start giving marital advice, but yeah, don't be forcing your spouse. And because I don't force my husband, and because I know how my husband is, I see that in my son, and I don't force him to be who he's not supposed to be. Let me give a very typical example. We went to there's this Santa thing that you do Christmas, right? And we went, and Santa is sitting there, and every child has to go and sit on Santa's lap to take a gift. My first son is an extrovert. He wants that gift. He goes sit on Santa's lap, grabs his gift, takes a picture, smiles, goes. My second son is like, who is this man? Like, he's a stranger. I don't want to sit on his lap. And so, and then when I saw his face, I knew I knew it, because I know he's my child. So I said, he's not going to sit on your lap, but he wants that gift. Yeah. So can he just get his gifts and then go? And he got his gifts and went. But you realize that. And then I told him, I said, Drew, do you know why you act the way you act? He said, no. I said, because you're an introvert. He said, Mommy, what's an introvert? And I said, oh, people don't really like going out, being with a lot of people. They like to be by themselves. And I saw that immediately. He felt like, wow, like I understand yes, this is me. And then I explained to his brother, and I said, every day you are forcing him to go outside to play and all those things. Your brother is an introvert, just like Daddy. I've seen how Daddy is, said he is. You see how, DJ, you're like me. So I'm an extrovert. We like to go out. So don't force your brother to, So it kind of minimizes the fight a bit, but it still fights. But yeah, but it's been very humbling just observing them and seeing some of these things. So sometimes I share some of these thoughts with other mothers out there that, these things, like, don't impose, I'm not saying that, like, let your children lead. I'm not saying that, be a parent. What I'm saying is that observe them. They have different personalities. And then try to guide them and nurture them, around that. That was, you were asking something about the twin. Yeah, so I would say the 20-year-old, I would say, when you have a baby, when you have kids, do that. But also know that if you're with a partner, your husband, whatever, children will change the dynamics of your relationship. You may not always agree. If you're dating someone right now, please just ask, try and finalize some things. Like, let's say, how many kids do you want to have? Just conversations you don't have when you're dating. You feel like, you're in this love bubble. But yeah, ask the difficult questions. How many kids do you want to have? What's your parenting style like? Like, are you like very strict? Do you like yelling, or you want to like gently, so that you don't clash on certain things, like you understand how things are going to be. Sometimes when you have the child, you change. So that's one of the things I was also going to say. I was of the view that you marry someone a certain way, and that person stays that way. And that was the biggest, it's been a learning curve for me. People change. Please accept change. You will change. I'm not the same person I was years ago. And that also can kind of create a risk, because that person feels like they married this different person. Yeah, and then now who is this person, And then add things like love languages. You know your love language, but your love language will change. Trust me. People think we talk about love language, they don't know. Right now, I used to be like words of affirmation, quality time, that kind of thing.
More like acts of service right now.
Service. Like, help me. Yeah, yeah, I need that help. Yeah. So it's like, for me, when you do that, it makes me feel like,
You love me.
you love me. So know all these things. Please know these things and know peace.
That's a
Trust
software
me.
update
Like,
right there.
yeah, it's like there's a whole lot I can say, but I just want you to know that it change. A lot of things change. Try to evolve with the time. Try to understand that you are changing. That person is also changing. Try to also understand that person. Also, the opposite of that is also try not to change that person. Try not to be with someone who is trying to change you.
Right.
So it's like you have to kind of understand both. And then also understand that your kids will pick up some traits that you hate and that you like, but you will see it, and it may help you work on yourself. And then also, don't try to change that child. Don't try to put that child in that box. It's like you have some preconditioned idea of how a child is supposed to be, so you will do this thing. That child will end up being who they are supposed to be. So just try, if it's Christian values you're going to impart in them, pray over them, do all those things. Cool. Do all these things. Do your best. Try to know the child, but I feel like you have to accept them. And yeah, that's basically it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Emilia, please, I wanted to take your final thoughts on how to balance the two. I want to have kids. I want to go to school. What do I do?
So, first of all, I'll say that whether or not you have a child, as a woman, you need to take charge of your well-being, your health. So you need to engage in physical exercise, physical activity. So not any strenuous exercise, but moderate one. Like you can walk briskly. Um, Sometimes you're even asked to breathe in. When was the last time you breathed in? And then breathe out. When was the last time? Can we do it together now? Breathe in, and out. How do you feel? Yes, this breathing exercise takes away stress, and then it helps you stay healthy within your lungs. And then, so do a lot of breathing exercises, do a lot of physical exercise. You can walk. I, for instance, live on a story. I'm on the third floor. So every evening, I make it a point to walk, to jog up, down. And I've seen a lot of changes within my body. Because if you keep adding on weight, it's also going to affect you, whether or not you have a child, especially if you are yet to have your own child. So please, let's take charge of our health. Let's always want to be healthy. Let's drink a lot of water. So back to her question, I think that it all depends on you, your decision. I've seen women in my school who are pregnant. I told you I'm writing an exam today. I didn't tell you, I told Winnie. Some of them came to write the exams with pregnancy. So if you know you can handle it, you can go in for it. Nobody, I beg you, let me clarify that I'm not trying to impose anything on anybody. It's all about your decision. It's all about your decision. So please, if you know that you can handle both at a time, go for it. If you know you can handle pregnancy or motherhood with career, go for it. All I want for us is let's take charge of our health. If you feel any pain, abnormal pain in your abdomen, go and have a pelvic scan to see what the problem is, and then you look for solutions. Don't expose yourself to infections. And if you want to get infected, make sure that you get medication for it. Don't just take para or something you buy from the drugstore. Otherwise, it's going to cause you pain that later you need to spend money to work on. So let's take charge of our health. Let's be mindful of what to do to preserve our fertility. We are women, and let's support each other. Do not stigmatize anybody if they are yet to have a child. Don't do that. It adds pain to their problem. So support them in whichever way you can. If by prayer, by recommendation, maybe you know a doctor that can help them, do that. Together, let's end infertility stigma. Let's take charge of our health as women. Let's exercise. Let's eat well. Eat more fruit and vegetables. Let's stop the indomie, the spaghetti. They are unhealthy for us. They are very unhealthy. So let's eat well, drink water, exercise, do the breathing exercise every day. It helps a lot. Thank you so much.
A good round of applause for my panelists. This has been an amazing conversation. I hope that you've learned a lot and will take action. So thank you very much, ladies, and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you so much. I told you we were going to do justice to the topic. And truly, we saved the best for the last. We saved the best for the last. Thank you so much for this insightful conversation. I could so much relate to everything that was said here. Infertility, childbirth, not wanting to lie at your back. You want to squat. You know, we know that there are so many ways to give birth, but we don't have the resources to support that. The woman would want to squat, but after that, we don't have the resources to support the tear. If you bleed, postpartum hemorrhage, we do not have all those resources. So to be on the safer side on our end, we will insist. We will not even let you know that there are options. We will insist that you should lie at your back. But on a more serious note, as a young lady, you should be able to explore and know the options that are available for you. And as young as you are, you need to take charge of your reproductive health, the family planning, the emergency pills that we take. I beg you. It should be twice in a year. I'll end there. Thank you. So too soon, we are coming to the end of this amazing event. I wish it never ended. Aww. Aww. The Let Me Be a woman foundation with their International Good Women Summit 2024. We can say that it has been a success. A round of applause, a round of applause, a round of applause. It has been a success because you came, you showed up, and you showed up well. A round of applause for yourselves too. And we had power panels. Panelists, they spoke on each and every topic. A round of applause for them. The organizers of the program. And I will invite the Let Me Be a Woman Foundation crew, the queens. They have a little something to do.
Okay, good evening to you all. I had a long speech prepared, but getting here, listening to everything, I don't want to ruin the whole with my long speech. So we have a little presentation we want to do. Zoe, I don't know. When I start talking about hair, I get emotional. The way we met, our journey from when we met till now has been an awesome ride. And I keep telling her that she has been a blessing. She is a blessing, and I know she'll continue to be a blessing. And I am so glad that I have her in my circle. And I am sure that all of us here can say the same thing. I tell her that you are too smart for your age. You are too wise for your age. Like, let me just say this. I am older than her, but I go to her for advice. And anytime I have an issue and I go to her, I'm like, who are you? And I can't stop thanking God for bringing her in my life. And I'm sure all of us here feel the same way. And so, just to show our appreciation to her for all that she does for us, she's always available, giving a listening ear. She's just there. She's present. And we really appreciate you. We appreciate what you're doing in our lives and what you're doing for other people. And we want to say that we love you. We love you so much. So this is from us to you. Unfortunately, we couldn't get everybody in the community signing something. So it's just their leadership that we have very little notes of appreciation to you.
Wow. That is a sign of good leadership. Yes. And impact. That's the most important thing. Impact. Most advocates start up initiatives because they've seen the glam on social media, thinking that it's all rosy, luxurious, forgetting that they need to be present in the lives of the people they say they want to touch their lives. Most people are doing this, but I tell you, it's the people that are touching their life, they're not touching the lives of the people. But this shows that Zoe is touching the lives of her members, making sure that they grow equally. And that's one quality of a leader. To are able to hold the hands of the people that you work with and say, hey, you know what? Come along. You came as this person, but you're not leaving my care as the same person. You'll be a different person for the world. And equally, I remember the first time we connected, it was on a clarity call. Talk about that some other time. And from that time, I was just okay with everything, and I just bless God for your life. God richly bless you, and I cannot wait for us to have another Good Woman Summit. This time, I'm not sure we'll be in Accra. We are booking a flight. Shout hallelujah. Yes. It will not be in 2025. So see you all. See you all at the International Good Woman Summit 2025. It has been an awesome program, and I'm so pleased to be your MC. My name is Sarah Nkansa Boateng. You can call me the Global, and it was a pleasure. Thank you so much. So the power of networking. We have powerful individuals in this room. Please don't slack. Make a move.